Hey everyone, how's it going? So I just came up on this article on PC Gamer about some more developments within the Blizzard lawsuit, or maybe not within the Blizzard lawsuit, but within the Blizzard company due to the lawsuit. And even though it was 3 days ago, I still feel like it's relevant. I haven't talked about this specifically, and so I'm hoping that this might give some more insight into a lot of the stuff I've already gone over so far in previous videos. So in case you guys are unfamiliar, more people have like they say departed. Really, what's happened is they've been told to leave or been fired, basically. So let's just get into the article here. Diablo 4 game director Louis Barriga, lead level designer Jessie Mccree, and World of Warcraft designer Jonathan Leecraft are all out at Blizzard Entertainment. The news was first reported by Kotaku and then confirmed by Activision Blizzard. So, right away, we have the game director for Diablo 4. Now, that is a pretty high up person. If you're the director for an entire game, that means you're one of the people in charge of basically this whole basically IP for Blizzard. Now, of course, there's like Diablo Immortal and Diablo 3, Diablo 2 Resurrected. So there are other games under the Diablo IP, but this right here is really the kind of current flagship that people are looking out for is Diablo 4. And so this article doesn't quite go into much detail about why he left. Maybe we'll go over the Kotaku article after to see if it goes into that. But the fact that someone high up like this is leaving could mean bad things for the game. Now, of course, it's not the end of the world for Diablo 4. So if you're looking forward to playing Diablo 4 in the future, the game director leaving is not the worst thing in the world. He's just a high up person within the development of the game. And by high up, I mean he's in charge of choosing what things get implemented into the game, what art designs happen for the game, what story elements happen for the game. So he does play a major role, but he's only one individual person. So it could be that the person who replaces him is a better game director. Of course, there's going to be growing pains for anyone taking over this role, but if he is being ousted due to some sexual misconduct or something like that, it could be that the game becomes better because the people below him no longer have to worry about any kind of harassment, or they feel more comfortable with the new boss. So it could actually be a good thing for the game that this guy's being let go, or I guess they said that he left, even though I don't really believe that. Lead level designer Jessie Mccree. So again, this is another high up person within Blizzard. He's the level designer, so he's the one that comes up with the ideas for the maps. He comes up with each of the dungeons. Now, of course, the dungeons are procedurally generated to an extent, but he comes up with the general theme and how those things would be generated. So, and then other people implement basically the algorithms and stuff that do that, but he is the designer for that. So he's the one telling the people how to implement it and what he wants to see, and then overall approving those designs. So, and he is actually the namesake for McCree from Overwatch. So I don't know what they're going to do with McCree in the game. It'd be kind of weird if they removed McCree like they did with like Afrasiabi's character from World of Warcraft, because McCree is far more core to the game of Overwatch than Afrasiabi's character was in World of Warcraft. But it's Blizzard. They're known to do the weirdest possible change that are meaningless, like removing /spit from classic WoW. So they might do something weird with this, though I would be surprised if they moved something as integral as McCree from Overwatch. And in my opinion, it wouldn't be intelligent for them to do that because he's so core, and it would just seem hollow again for them to do that here. I think leaving McCree as a standalone character within Overwatch is fine, and just disassociating him with Jessie Mccree, I think that's fine. And then you have World of Warcraft designer Jonathan Lacraft. Now, if you're like me and you hate the design of World of Warcraft, it's probably a good thing. The designers need to be changed. So plus on you, but of course it's not good that he had to leave due to these lawsuits. It's actually quite sad that there are so many people within the company that need to be let go because they're acting inappropriately. not good, I don't think. But it is, I think, it's not good for what it seems like the culture of the company is. It is good that the people who are doing this stuff are being let go, they're being ousted, and the game will probably improve due to it, and the workplace will most certainly improve because of it. And then yeah, so that's all for this paragraph. Like I said, we'll go look at the Kotaku article to see if it talks about why they were fired after, but let's just look at this article first. So then we say, we can confirm Louis Barriga, Jessie Mccree, and Jonathan Leecraft are no longer with the company. A representative said, we have a deep, talented roster of developers already in place, and new leaders have been assigned where appropriate. We are confident in our ability to continue progress, deliver amazing experience to our players, and move forward to ensure a safe, productive work environment. Now, this is a really good response from Blizzard, or I guess Activision Blizzard in this case, right? It's not just Blizzard responding. If we look at how this is worded, they're saying that they're basically acknowledging the skill of their current team, even though it might seem a little weird since they've let go a ton of developers and they kind of keep hiring developers. So something that was brought up to me in one of my comments recently by one of my subscribers named David is that what Blizzard likes to do is they like to fire people and then like hire either new people or rehire the same talent from like previous times to decrease the cost of employing people. So essentially, if someone's not continuously employed by Blizzard, they're not really expected to get like raises and stuff so they can keep those costs down. It is a pretty unsettling way to, hire people and then fire them and then rehire or hire new people to keep costs down, but it does happen. And hopefully this is signaling a change of that, but I kind of doubt it, but maybe. So they're acknowledging the talent within their team that already exists, which I think is good. It, as a person from the outside reading this, and I'm sure as an employee, if you work at Blizzard reading this, it makes you at least feel a little bit valued, even though the recent things might lessen that feeling. It is a much better response than what they said before. They're like, nah, nothing's happening, no harassment's happening here, and everyone's like, wait, yeah, there is. So this is, at least they're acknowledging some part. They're saying developers already in place. They're saying new leaders have been assigned where appropriate. That's pretty much all of these people. And we are confident in our ability to continue progress, deliver amazing experience to our players, and move forward to ensure safe, productive environment for all. What they're saying here, of course, is that they are working on improving it, where before they said there was no problem. They want to improve the experience for players, which of course you always want to appeal to your consumers, even when you don't listen to them. And they want to move forward to ensure safe, productive work environment. And this is kind of suggesting that it's not insured right now, so they want to move forward so that it will be insured. So I think this is a really good statement, and it seems like they might have improved their PR either by hiring or outsourcing this or doing something. So their PR from this already sounds a lot better than what it sounded like before. A source at Blizzard also told PC Gamer that the senior developers are no longer in Blizzard's internal employee directory, basically just confirming that they've been removed from the system within the company. An internal employee directory is essentially how, as an employee of a company, you can tell if someone works there. So usually they're using some kind of Active Directory system for this, which then can be used to identify people over email, over voice comms like Skype or Zoom. So that's kind of what this means. It's just saying that they can no longer be identified within the company, which means that they're most certainly not working there anymore. The news comes during a tumultuous month of Activision Blizzard reacts to a lawsuit by the state of California alleging that the company has the sexist culture and widespread workplace toxicity. Of course, we've gone over this, and it's not the only lawsuit they have. They also have a lawsuit from the investors saying that they did not disclose this investigation, and it hampered the ability to invest in the company because you're unsure of extenuating circumstances that could affect the price. So that is where we're at for this. I've already talked over that. I even have a timeline for one of my videos, which I'm thinking about updating later because there has been some developments, though not that much. So I'm kind of hesitant to actually create a timeline for that, but we'll see if more things happen within the next couple weeks. So it says Louis Barriga was game director in Diablo 4 and has been with Blizzard for at least 15 years. He was previously a quest and systems designer and a lead game designer on World of Warcraft. He was involved in the development of the Burning Crusade, Warlords of Draenor, Wrath of the Lich King, and Cataclysm expansions, as well as Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. So this could be a bad sign depending on your feeling for a lot of these things within like World of Warcraft's history and Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. So, for example, it says he was a quest and systems designer and lead game designer within World of Warcraft for these expansions: the Burning Crusade, Warlords of Draenor, Wrath of the Lich King, and Cataclysm. I find it weird how they ordered this list, but let's go ahead and go through it. Was the questing in Burning Crusade good? Yes. Was the system design good? Yes. So does that mean that the game design was good? Probably. And since he probably started out as a quest and system designer and later moved to a lead game designer, I'm going to guess that for Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, he was probably a quest and systems designer. And then for Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor, he was probably a lead game designer. That would be my guess based on what it seems like the progression for a position within the company would be. I'm not entirely sure, but we can look at all aspects from each expansion. So like I said, the Burning Crusade, questing and system design was good. Game design was good. So if he was any of those roles, he did good here. Let's go to the next expansion, which would have been Wrath of the Lich King. Of course, this is most people's favorite expansion. It was the most populated expansion. So game design was good. System and quest design was good, except we have to put a caveat here because this also marks the time where most people feel like the downfall of the game began. In fact, even though Cataclysm came after, most people recognize that some of the systems that people don't like in the game came during Wrath of the Lich King, such as the Dungeon Finder. So if he was in charge of that system design or as a lead game designer and he gave the okay for that, perhaps he doesn't always have the best view of the game, although I do think Wrath of the Lich King overall was an excellent expansion. So still props to him for whatever he did on that. And so still his job within this probably was well received by most people. And then we look at Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor. I'm going to lump these two together because I think they had similar issues. So for Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor, we clearly had really good questing systems. I don't know if most people who have gone through the questing within both of these would agree that the questing was good. Okay, it wasn't the questing that was the problem here. It was in Cataclysm, it was the raiding, and for Warlords of Draenor, it was the content drought and how the garrisons ended up in the end. So let's look at those things. So the questing part of both of these expansions was fine. But by this time, we're also assuming that he was the lead game designer, so he probably played less of a role there. The systems design within Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor were both fine as well. If you remember, Cataclysm is when we were able to do transmog and we could change the stats on our items. Those systems were generally well received. And for Warlords of Draenor, there wasn't really many new systems that were added to the game besides the garrison system, which, like I said, started off good for a lot of people, but kind of ended poorly. But if we look at the overall game design, it could spell problems because the overhaul of the starting zones within Cataclysm was a major contention for a lot of people. Okay, this is when so many people began to dislike the game and when a lot of the player base kind of dropped off. And it's also interesting that they didn't really talk about Mists of Pandaria, because if he wasn't working on the game during Mists of Pandaria, which was kind of received as a good expansion, at least aside from the aesthetics of the pandas. I know people hate the pandas, but the expansion as a whole and the class design and all that stuff was really well received within the expansion. So it makes me wonder if he worked on Cataclysm, it was poorly received. Someone else worked on Mists of Pandaria, was well received, and then he worked on Warlords of Draenor and had a horrible content drought issue, so in the end was horribly received. So it seems like he wasn't the best here. And, you know, I'm just speculating when he was the lead game designer for these things, but perhaps he could have been the cause for some of the issues here. So, like, if we're assuming that it was only quest and system design that he was working on for Wrath and Burning Crusade, so his questing, perhaps he played only a partial role in those things, and that could explain the success of the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. But as a lead game designer, he did a horrible job on Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor. It could end up being a very good thing that he's left the Diablo 4 team due to his track record of not having the best experience here. Now, if we go to Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, I'm going to assume that he wasn't a quest designer for Reaper of Souls, but he might have been a systems designer or a lead game designer. And Reaper of Souls, while it was fun, it didn't seem as replayable for a lot of people as Diablo 3 like base was. And I would also say, now some people are going to have to probably check me on my memory here, but this is also when Paragons came out, and I feel like that was also pretty well received. So possibly there are some good and bad things here, where the Paragon was a well-received system, but the overall replayability and just fun of this expansion to Diablo 3 wasn't as well received. I didn't play as much Diablo as I played World of Warcraft, so forgive me if my memory is a little worse on these things here, but I would say that Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls was definitely not as good of a game, at least in my opinion, and probably as received on the internet as Diablo 2. And if that is the prevailing opinion, then that's even more important to whether or not he'll be useful on Diablo 4. Then it says Jessie Mccree was a lead level designer at Blizzard, working on Diablo 3 and multiple World of Warcraft expansions. Mccree had been employed since December 2005, according to his LinkedIn page. He's apparently the namesake of Overwatch character Jessie Mccree, and his involvement in the Cosby Suite group chats documented by Kotaku led some Overwatch fans to ask the name of the character to be changed. McCree also has at least 5 characters in World of Warcraft named after himself. So, he was a lead level designer for Blizzard on Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft. So, of course, the level design for Diablo 3 I think was incredibly good. I don't think anybody would disagree with the level design. It was more the system design, the item design, and the overall story and kind of direction of the game that I think people had issue with. And multiple World of Warcraft expansions, it's incredibly vague depending on which ones they're talking about. It could be good or bad, but I think overall, if level design within World of Warcraft is talking about zones or dungeons or raids, I think all of those have been exceptional throughout World of Warcraft. I don't think there's many zones or dungeons or raids that people would find not good, aside from a few. So perhaps as a level designer, Jessie Mccree is exceptional. Now, this thing does talk about people wanting his name removed from Overwatch, which I did mention. I don't know if that's the best thing, because McCree within Overwatch to me has symbolized something separate from this person, but I'm not a marginalized group affected by this, so my voice seems to matter less than those people's voices. But I don't know if this is actually a valuable thing to do. Of course, like I said, take my opinion with a grain of salt on that, because I'm not one of the people affected by these accusations. Now, his characters within World of Warcraft, however, is a different thing. I think that they could either remove these or change these, and nobody would really care, because again, it's not like a main focus within the game. It's not like Sylvanas was named after him and they'd have to replace all of her lore and stuff to fix that. So this seems like a much more doable thing than removing McCree as an Overwatch character or changing his name. Jonathan Lacraft had worked at Blizzard since 2005, as well serving as senior game designer for World of Warcraft. He also worked primarily on World of Warcraft since the Burning Crusade. Now, he was the senior game designer for World of Warcraft after the Burning Crusade, which it did really good in Wrath of the Lich King, but after that went way, way down. So this is maybe one of the people within the game design team that was the problem with the overall downfall of World of Warcraft over the years. So I'm just being wishful thinking that the people who were the actual creeps and the ones being let go were the ones that were causing major problems with the game, with the games within Blizzard, and eventually their departure from the company will improve Blizzard games overall. That's my hope. The situation is developing, and PC Gamer has reached out to Activision Blizzard for comment. So it looks like this is as much as they know as of 3 days ago. Hopefully more stuff will come out about this and it'll be super interesting and we can talk about that. But that's all there is for this article for now. So let's go ahead and look at the Kotaku article and see what it says. Diablo 4 game designer director Louis Barriga, lead designer Jessie Mccree, and World of Warcraft designer Jonathan Lacraft were let go from Blizzard on Wednesday. Two sources with knowledge of the move told Kotaku. We already talked about that. The news was delivered to the development teams today but has not yet been officially announced. A source confirmed to Kotaku that the three developers' names are no longer visible in Blizzard's internal directory or Slack. Activision Blizzard did not immediately return a request for comment. Okay, so this is without the comment we had previously, although it looks like they have an update here with the same thing we talked about earlier, so it looks like we already talked about that. A spokesperson for Activision Blizzard confirmed the departures in an email. Yep, so it's exactly what we went over before. One source who learned of the news said Activision Blizzard did not give the reason for the departures, but they come as the company reckons with the California lawsuit alleging widespread sexual. So we talked about this. Jessie Mccree, the namesake of Overwatch's beloved cowboy fighter and most recently a designer on Diablo 4, was one of the several current and former Blizzard employees who appeared in an image of the BlizzCon 2013 Cosby suite obtained by Kotaku. The suite contained booze and a giant portrait of Bill Cosby and reportedly belonged to World of Warcraft developer Alex Afrasiabi. Afrasiabi is one of the few people called out by name in the California lawsuit, which accuses him of sexual harassing and groping female coworkers. Bloomberg reported that the nickname for the suit began as a joke about ugly carpeting and predated the sexual assault allegations about Bill Cosby becoming widely publicized, though some Blizzard sources have disputed that origin story. Two former Blizzard employees told Kotaku that the suite's reputation had always been menacing because of Afrasiabi's behavior. Afrasiabi-related references have since been removed from World of Warcraft, though there's no word yet on whether or not Overwatch and its gunslinger will see any changes in the light of the latest news. Jonathan Lacraft and Corey Stockton, currently a lead game designer at Blizzard, were also pictured in the suite. Two sources confirmed Kotaku that Stockton was put on leave last week, but appears to remain with the company. Okay, so everything else we had already talked about pretty much, but not this. Corey Stockton, another person who was not let go from the company, but was put on leave because of his association with the Cosby suite. This is interesting. So it looks like Blizzard might only be going after the people who are publicly kind of being condemned and not really every single person that they could be going after. Now, I could just be completely wrong, and they might actually be going after people, and the news articles and people online are only talking about the people within the photo because those are the only people they know to look at. But I would expect a statement from Blizzard if they were doing, like, how many people they were letting go because of this. That would probably ease a lot of people's minds. So I'm not sure if they're waiting until they have a better investigation for this or what, but that seems to be what I would think. Says Louis Barriga has been at Blizzard since 2006 and as game director has been one of the faces of Diablo 4 since its initial revealed. The game is still deep in development and doesn't yet have a release date. Last year, veteran game developer Rod Ferguson announced he was leaving Microsoft and Gears 5 studio, The Coalition, to join Blizzard and oversee the entire Diablo franchise. Okay, so it looks like the only notable thing that's different within the Kotaku article is this Corey Stockton thing, which is good that people are being put on leave for further investigation. And I feel like overall this is a good step from Blizzard. Hopefully it shows good signs for the future of the games that are being developed by these people. And their removal can improve the quality of the game, but more importantly, can improve the quality of the work environment for a lot of the employees at Blizzard. That would be the most ideal situation, and I hope that's the case. Anyway, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like and subscribe and leave a comment below. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, thanks all again for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Peace.